What's going on? Peace. Neek Shantae. Hey, Sageism. What's up? Yeah. Cool, y'all in here with us, man. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah. Hope it. What's up, Janet? Hope everybody is doing well tonight. Most definitely. Yeah, yeah. Hope all is going well with you in the midst of everything that's going on. You taking everything you need to take. You're eating better. You're being more conscious of what you're putting in your temple. You know what I'm saying? Reducing the likeliness and probability of anything that would try to attack our immune system. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely boosting up your immune system. You're drinking plenty of agua. You know what I'm saying? And just doing what you need to do. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's our approach
to dealing with this.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that basics. We're gonna share a color with y'all.
Okay. Cool.
It's the left hand side, though. No pain, no gain.
Yeah.
So y'all, we showing our age tonight, right? This is an artist. Her name is Latasha Lee. I have been stalking her because she is so soulful. And the left hand path is definitely about pain and learning how to transmute that pain, learning how to take it and turn something beautiful from it. You gotta do what? That's right. Absolutely.
King Dawood Asha. Peace. What's up?
She sounds good, dog.
She sounds real good. Yep.
Okay, what's
Dallas,
up?
Texas.
Hey, Sageism.
Yeah.
My deep sister.
Shout out to everybody that's on with us.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. This is gonna be an interesting show. So a lot of people haven't been getting notifications. So that's why we decided to send a notification to the Wix app, to the contact. We have to figure out how to do that. Ashe, peace, Meek. So we hope y'all got that notification since YouTube doesn't always do it. As you can see from the title, we're kind of going in a different direction as far as the group, and how we are maneuvering through the spiritual awakening. And I feel like a lot of y'all kept asking about this, so it's time for us to talk about it.
Yeah.
What's up, Vibrate
High?
Peace to you.
Yes.
Yes.
We are people of the sun. Yes, indeed.
That's right. So it's 9 here. We'll get started and let people trickle in.
Yeah, well.
Talk to your family. Say peace to your family.
That's right.
Thank y'all for being with us. Now it's 12. Okay, Ashe.
Legendary Apes.
What's up, Legendary Apes?
Peace and blessings.
Yes. Yeah. So, as you can see, we have on our Baphomet jewelry that I was telling you about that Ernest had made.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. He made these rings too.
Yeah.
He's so talented.
It's something about the spiral. I love the spiral.
Yeah, that's true. Me too. Me too.
She be motivating me. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Hers, it looks so good on her.
Okay. You in the UK? I'm here for it too, sis. It's gonna get good. Okay, I'm so ready to get into this topic. Oh my gosh, this topic is so juicy.
Definitely.
Juicy. Okay, we're gonna bring out the juice. So we got some notes because we had been jotting things down. So first, I kind of just want to let me simplify the left hand and the right hand path, because it can kind of, especially for those of us who came through religion and grew up in church and different traditions, it's kind of weird when you start looking into wanting to understand demons or wanting to understand the Temple of Solomon and what that was really about. I know when I was a Christian, I ain't gonna lie, I slick had an obsession with the devil because everything was the devil. Like the devil did everything. Anything went wrong, it was the devil. I was obsessed with the devil in reverse. But really what it was, I was fascinated by this being, this entity that the Old Testament said Lucifer was so beautiful, right? His body made music, and that he had gemstones all over his body. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how is this bad, you know? And that he didn't want to do things the way Yahweh wanted to do things. So he began paving his own path. He began saying, you know what? I don't want fate. I want to create my destiny. I'm a living sentient being with intelligence. It don't make sense for me to not create my own destiny and to have to live a fated life like a machine, you know. So even when I was in church, I was intrigued by this individual, and I know a lot of y'all probably were too. I love end time stuff, anything with the mark of the beast, like all that shit just did something to me, and it made me want to read and want to know, and I wanted to know what's the dragon and who is the woman that rides the dragon in the book of Revelations. It was more interesting than a lot of the shit Jesus did. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, him walking on water, that was cool. The 2 breads and the 2 fish, and loaves of bread, that was cool. But it was just something about the end times, Armageddon, the mark of the beast, that I was really, really intrigued by. So with that being said, I'm going to give the distinction between the two. Now, in the note that we have, we were writing it like church versus people who are awakening, so religion versus spirituality. So a way that you can simplify the left-hand path is that it is spirituality versus religion. So spirituality can be chaotic, and it can also come in the form of order, whether you're working with energies that are considered angelic or energies that are considered demons. And so really the difference in the reference here is in the manner in which they manifest or they bring forth manifestation. So You could say that the left-hand path is synonymous with people experiencing enlightenment or a spiritual awakening. And this is why Lucifer is like talked about so much when you start looking into enlightenment. Lucifer literally translates to light, to enlightenment. So the left-hand path is more focused on being an enlightened individual, being a soul who knows that it is sovereign, a soul who creates its own rules, a soul who awakens to say, wait a minute, I'm living in a box. Why am I living in this liberty ass box? And it's a huge world that I'm here to experience. Left hand. Right hand path, please put me in the box. Keep me in the box. If I step out of this box, I got to repent. If I step out of this box, I got to do Hail Marys. If I step out of this box, some women step out of the box in some religions and they husbands and fathers can murder them, right? Like the Islamic religions.
Yeah.
So even if
it's so patriarchal. Yeah.
It's legal.
Yeah.
It's Sharia law.
Yeah.
And they were actually trying to bring it here at one point.
Yeah.
So right hand is no. You don't get to create your own life. You cannot create your own reality. You cannot create your own destiny. You must live what is fated to you. So whatever tradition your parents and your grandparents were in, that's what you got to do too. That's right hand path. Right hand path is a whole lot of rules and regulations. And you have to follow these rules and regulations. If you don't, you are gonna go to hell. Left hand path is go into the darkness. Go into your darkness. Deal with your shadow self. Deal with your demons. You know you a hoe. Deal with it. You like to sleep around. Face it. Deal with it. Accept it. Then next step and master yourself and learn how to gain control.
Self-mastery.
Right hand path, you a hoe, you need to repent. Right? You probably get baptized 5, 6, 7 times. You probably get married. You got to get delivered. You might even get married several times to people you really don't want to be married to, but it's because you're trying to shake that off of you because now you have a reputation. That's right hand. This is the way each side deals with things. Left hand path, you master yourself. You don't become someone who worship a master. Left hand path, you worship nothing outside of yourself. You are God. You are divinity. You are sovereign. Right hand path, worship a God.
And one key term that we hang on to is judgment. That term also is a distinction because in the left hand path there is no judgment. You release all judging. But on the right hand path, guess what? You got the permission to judge, especially as it relates to whatever their faith is.
Yeah.
Or whatever their ideology is. You know what I'm saying? There are some standards that you living by. There are some standards that you govern your life according. You know what I'm saying? But on the left hand, it's do as thou will. You know what I'm saying?
Which let's be real. How many Christians do you know don't do what the fuck they want to do when they want to do it? Including you. If you used to be any form of religion, you still did shit that you wanted to do that was outside of the box that you were supposed to live in. Let's be real. How many people have you met who were able to adhere to every law, to every regulation, to every feast day? Right?
Every holy day. Yeah.
Every holy day.
That's the reason why it's called repent. Because you can't live up to it.
Go to the functionary. It's a functionary dictionary, basically. Bobby Hemmett talked about it. Go and read about religion, okay?
Yeah.
For those of you, if this is a little new to you, okay?
Yep. That's so true. It's subconscious guilt, sages. Yeah.
And the trickery behind it is this for me. The first time I stepped onto the left hand path, Bobby Hemmett definitely had boosted my head up. I had listened to him so much.
Good, Ashley.
To where I was like, you know what? We've been doing this Christian thing for a long time. We've been Hebrew Israelites for a long time. Now it's time for us to experience life the way we want to. So let's divorce. Like the first thing we did, we went through the whole rundown of who the Messiah was, who is King David, who is the beast.
Yep.
Who are the people that are going to judge people and angels alike? Who is the Elohim that I will make them? And you know, it was speaking in plural when it was talking about creation. The book of Genesis wasn't adding up. The creation days wasn't adding up. We went through the whole thing, and the very first thing that awakened me in earnest was Israel.
Yeah.
And I sat up one day in the middle of the night. I said, wait a minute. Wait. If ISIS is bad, Ra is bad, Elohim, El, gods outside of Yahweh is bad, why the hell do we call ourselves children of Israel? That is a conjuration of Isis, Ra, and El as an Elohim. And we were calling ourselves the children of these people. I said, let's find out who these deities are. That's what woke us up.
Yeah.
We posted all of this stuff on remnantsgathering.com.
On the blog, on our old blog spot.
remnantsgathering.blogspot.com. So if you're in the beginning phases, go there and you get the whole breakdown and you'll see all the things that don't line up.
Yeah, we did what's wrong with the church. What's wrong with Christianity. I mean, we had went so far, and we're gonna stay on subject, but we went so far as to realize that according to the Old Testament, you can't have a savior. Nobody can die for you. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And according to Scripture, the savior was David. You remember when we found? Yeah, it was David, and it you know, that whole New Testament Messiah, you know, in Jesus.
Worship no other God before me or beside me. But then Jesus said, he said beside God. It was like, wait.
The Old Testament and the New Testament should basically agree. But when you start really delving into it and researching unbiasedly, I'm talking about like you're not researching all Christian material, foundational material. You have to use more than foundational material based in what you already believe. Like, who do that? Like, you have to do some unbiased investigation. Like you gotta let all your judgment down. You can't even come into it with the idea of, I know this ain't true or whatever. If you come into it like that, you're not ready. You're not ready for self-discovery, knowing yourself, because it takes you letting go of all of what you thought was to be true, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You definitely have to come from a point where you get rid of everything you think you know.
You got to.
You have to become a fool to learn anything.
That's right.
You know.
You got to become like a babe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to become like just a child. You know what I'm saying?
So we're going to read to y'all some things that we wrote, and he's just going to read it straight through, and then we'll discuss it. This is going to further go into, so keep in mind, that's why we explain the symbols. So we may say Christianity, we may say religion, we may say church, but we're talking about right-hand path. And this includes Buddhism and things like that. That's still right-hand path.
Any form of religion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any organized form of religion
that uses only love and light and doesn't deal with the shadow aspects, the darker aspects, or the primordial aspects of each man and woman. We all have these animal instincts within us that are primordial energies.
That's right.
And we have had to suppress and repress them because that's where the true power is, and the powers that be know this. So this was a huge construction. Peace, Flex.
What's up, Flex? Yeah.
Okay, babe, you can read it.
Yep. Sean Harris, peace
Peace,
and love to
Sean.
you. Yep. So, from Christianity to metaphysics. From Christianity to metaphysics. If someone posted on Facebook, I'm no longer a Christian. I study etymology, comedic practices. It has enlightened me and gave me the understanding of metaphysics, which is the science behind spirituality. I practiced most of my life, seeking truth wherever I could find it, and it led me to this place of being thankful.
Mm-hmm.
Most black people, family, friends, co-workers, and old church members will say, "We gonna pray for you because you've been deceived. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life." Man, how much did you used to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, our minds are enslaved by the corporation called America. Whether impressions on our DNA, which are traumatic memories of our ancestors, is a program running in the background of our subconscious. So when someone gets free from the truth taught by the oppressor, the mental slaves become the oppressors.
Mm.
Y'all get it.
Mm.
Y'all get it. All right. The mental slaves, which in times past were oppressed. And what ends up happening is those mental slaves then become the new oppressors. All right. They become the anchor. They become the stumbling block to the path someone feels they must take to be true to thyself.
Mm.
They prefer such a person to return to the plantation,
Mm.
which is the church today.
Thank you. Y'all keep an eye on the comments, okay? So we can focus on the teaching.
Yes.
We got trolls in here, moderators. You know what to do.
Oh, for real. Somebody shooting scriptures at us.
Like
it's 2020. I'm gonna say this. It's 2020, and like, God damn it, YouTube's so full of information. If this is something that don't resonate with you, you're not preaching to us. And like you're not convicting us. Like,
yeah, and you've
actually
we so far past that.
Yeah, I mean,
don't get yourself in trouble participating with us if this is not what you believe or what you are researching.
If this ain't for you, you know what I'm saying? In all peace.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then like too many pieces, and then after a while I get the fuck on, and after, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
yeah.
Say that for somebody who like really looking for Jesus.
We'll pick it up.
So they prefer such a person to return to the plantation, which is the church today.
Or any right-hand path.
We're no longer picking cotton and benefiting the oppressor. We benefit the oppressor by cherry picking scriptures, paying tithes, teaching lies, and half truths.
Mm.
As long as we are policing each other's path of seeking truth and causing them to feel as if they are wrong, we will continue to be in our present conditions of poverty, spiritually and financially, blind to the truth, worshiping a God presented to us by our oppressors, broken family structure, wounded souls, sickness and disease, and etc.
Woo! I think you need to read that one more time.
One more again.
Can we get a rewind on that?
Yes. As long as we are policing each other's path of seeking truth and causing them to feel as if they are wrong, we will continue to be in our present conditions of poverty, both spiritually and financially, blind to the truth, worshiping a God presented to us by our oppressors, broken family structure, wounded souls, sickness and disease, and etc. This pressure caused me to become an avatar that was acceptable to the people around me. It made all of us become avatars to be accepted. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like a condition of a group.
Especially if you a child, because most of us got our ass beat if we act like we wasn't ride and die for Jesus, a la going to church or whatever.
Yeah. Refusing to follow my own divine path through non-biased research. There that term go again. We're non-biased research. was not only oppressive, but it was freezing me in a state of mind that is not producing results that would lead to true enlightenment. We have become the oppressor. We have become the slave master. We have become the spiritual police. We have become the Lord by placing judgment on anyone who does not believe as we believe.
Wow.
We have become our worst enemy, using spiritual yokes and chains on each other because we believe we are helping the person who is trying to remove this bondage from his mind, body, and soul.
Woo!
Them last few statements,
Look,
y'all.
I wrote this and I'm listening to it like somebody else wrote this shit because I'm like, that's good. But this is exactly the ideology, and this is the spiritual aspect. We know we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but principalities of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places.
Yep.
So what happened was when a lot of us grew up in religion and a yoke was put on us, when people see you starting to get free, God forbid they see you with a pentagram or a Baphomet, any symbolism that they believe is evil, they think they're saving you, when in actuality they're doing the least spiritual thing a soul can do, which is block another soul from following the path in which that soul incarnated to find its own climax in its consciousness.
Yep.
You don't do that. You don't even know, you can't even get your shit together enough to tell somebody else how to get their shit together. It's crazy. And they think that we're blind. So they're like, that's the blind leading the blind. But darkness is not what blinds you. Light is what blinds you.
Exactly. Say that again.
Because darkness don't blind you. Light blinds you. Y'all know, wow. I did it this morning.
Ain't that deep, y'all?
I came out of my dark bedroom, hit the switch, and light, the dimmer wasn't on. It was all the way up. I couldn't see shit. I was blind for a few seconds. And in those moments, I said, "Oh my goodness, this is what the right hand path was doing to me."
Yep.
I didn't even want to see. It hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It hurted to see myself. I was so, the light had me so blind, and it became. It was really hard for Ernest seeing himself, because when you begin merging into the spiritual path and becoming more left-handed, and remembering the Bible, those that are at the left hand of the Father don't get in heaven. Y'all remember that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to wonder, why would the Bible even say that?
Yeah.
That's because it was orchestrated so that we would not seek within the darkness within ourselves, which is where the true power is.
On a natural perspective, like Cam said, when you cut the light on and you in a place that's fully lit, the fact that if it's too bright, you can't see. But how many times have you been in complete darkness, and your eyes adjust and you can see in the dark? You know what I'm saying? It ain't. Y'all know what I mean. You can still see in the dark. You sit in the dark for a few moments, and your eyes will readjust to the point that you can see in the dark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there's just more confirmation as to we are not blinded by the dark. We are blinded by light. And especially if that light is not the true light source.
And
it's a lot of artificial light.
Yeah,
a lot. Know what I'm saying?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not a lot of artificial darkness. Darkness is just darkness. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Let's
go
to the next part.
Yeah. Part 2. Okay. Now, we use the same tactics as our ancestors who wanted to remain on the plantation for fear of what was outside of the plantation.
Pay attention.
Yeah, I remember that. Thanks, brother. Thanks. The same tactics as our ancestors who wanted to remain on the plantation for fear of what was outside of the plantation was used on us. And when anyone found a way to be free, there was always someone warning us of the dangers outside of the plantation.
And this is the left-hand path.
Right.
We've been warned most of our lives of the dangers of all of the workings on the left-hand path.
Yep.
And so when people see you getting free, they think that it's safer for you to stay with the master master on the plantation. And even the Bible say the slaves obey your masters. So pastors have become the masters.
Mm-hmm.
That shit rhyme. It's for a reason.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Neek. Yeah.
So when we started coming out trying to get people free, I say, when we started trying to get people free with us as we were getting free, we were being accused of putting people in bondage. It was so weird. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? This is weird as hell. What? Like, we grown. We can't make our own decisions. So I realized this is how, this is genetic. This is epigenetics within us, how we were taught. So you got the light skinned slaves, the dark skinned slaves. You got the ones that's in the house, you got the one that's out in the field. And the way the masters was working them against each other, that way they always had control, even when they weren't present. And this is where you get terms for black people who, you know, kiss white people ass, or the corporations to rise up, you know, Uncle Tom's and all of that. If you watch Django, how Samuel Jackson was in Django, brown nose, and then you got the bed wenches, you know. It was a lot of arts of war being used on us, and even still today.
That's it.
Okay.
Now the strange thing about this is, how do someone warn a person about something they haven't investigated for themselves? Being in religion, we believe that it's just automatically a certain degree of ignorance, because first of all, you're taught not to question anything. Just accept it. That's just the way it is. You know, I can remember as a child asking questions about anything relating to God. You know what I'm saying? they would say that's just the way it is, and then as I got a little older, I learned that, oh, okay, that's the answer, because you really don't know more than that about it. And so then what we have to do is, again, do our own non-biased research and investigation. Now, the fact that we have been on that right-hand side and we were awakened, and then now we're more left-hand oriented, now we got the choice to choose between, sometimes we working that right-hand path mindset as far as being a blessing
to other people
and a help and an aid, you know what I'm saying, to other people in their times of need. But then on the other side, we still selfish, and we still all about us. You know what I'm saying? We still learning all about us. It's like, how can you be a help to somebody when you don't have at least some of your stuff together or some of your stuff in order?
It's like teaching somebody how to drive and you've never driven.
Exactly.
You can't, you haven't experienced it, so you can't tell somebody that this path is bad or detrimental when you haven't even went through that path yourself. You know, and so this is what was happening to us within religion. And this is why you can't talk to these people, even us. There was a time where there were certain friends and certain people would try to talk to us and we couldn't receive it. You know what I'm saying? We were so stuck in the mindset and the slave mentality that we couldn't receive it. So that's why even Bobby Hemmett tell you, fuck them people. Fuck your family. If they still in religion and that's the shit they want to do, let the dead bury the dead. That's really what that means, because they haven't began to live yet. If you are living by rules that you were told was passed down from people mostly that you know were oppressed, since a lot of us do come from oppressed people, then why would you build your life around that? I literally just had this conversation today. I love my dad, bless his soul. He was like, Romans 13, obey the laws of the land. And I was like, well, the laws of the land change whenever they want to change and to fit what they want to do. So why would I do that?
I was just going to say, but why in this modern day time with all these intelligent people, you know what I'm saying, we geniuses, why do we think that we should be living off something 2,000 years ago? An ideology at that. Just an ideology, just a practice, just a way, a lifestyle.
Because
it's too old and too outdated to even you can't even put no modern spin on it.
But see, they don't need to, because that's when they say to you, well, see, you just been deceived. You know.
You with the new age.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the same
It's
Bible says there's
though.
nothing new under the sun.
True.
So how are we
and
practicing
new
age and there's nothing new under the sun?
Yeah.
You know, it don't make sense.
Yep.
Okay, here goes the next part.
Yeah, thank you, EJ. Yeah, we elevated
we finna dig in. Hell yeah, we've been working hard.
Yep.
Real talk.
Yeah.
We're like, no, we need to level up, all of us together.
Yep. I'm sure there were slaves who had a chance to go with Harriet Tubman, but they didn't have the ability or courage to see things outside of the program they were given by their oppressors. Who paid the biggest price? Those who stayed or those who searched for a way out of bondage?
Woo!
Both groups may have faced difficulty and even death, but at least those who tried another way got a chance to see the truth and thus allowed me and you today to have freedoms that were only possible because someone was brave enough to search for true deliverance from bondage.
That's deep.
Yep. Ironically, freedom was obtained by our ancestors going into a dark place.
That's deep. That's how they got free.
Yeah,
they didn't get free in the light.
A dark place.
They got free by going underground, which is symbolic of the underworld.
Yep. Through the so-called darkness, they found true light. Light is always birthed from darkness. Babies must be in darkness for 9 months before seeing light. Creation of light came as a result of darkness. Darkness has been presented to us as always representing evil. So true. Even our dark skin became proof of how beastly and savage we are. According to Dr. Cartwright, any slave who wants to run away from his or her master must have a mental condition that's called
Draptophobia. Remember that word. If that's new to y'all, check out draptophobia. This particular doctor, Dr. Cartwright, he basically said that this was a mental condition. The reason why some of the slaves would run away, he was saying they were mentally sick. And they gave a name to this mental illness, and it was called draptophobia. And so what you have with the right-hand path, and, religion and church, a lot of those people are dealing with the construction of that, even though that wasn't a real thing, because they created it, became a thought form. So that's why it seems like we have a mental condition, because we're seeking to be free from what we were raised in, and make it seem like it's something wrong with us mentally. Like we crazy, like we weird, we bizarre, we just out there, which is why we call it, weirdo gang, because, we just don't fit in with most of our blood relatives.
Right.
And the people around us.
That's so true. This same program is running in the background.
Woo!
Tracking our location.
Ooh.
Making sure we don't go into anything that may lead to true power and enlightenment. This program is the reason we don't encourage people to go on a search for truth unless it's within the parameters we think is right, and based on a practice used to enslave our ancestors and us today. This is detrimental and will keep us in a state of destruction and enslavement. Let's learn to love each other unconditionally. Ain't that what Christians supposed to do? Let's stop making people feel as if the only right way is the way that feels right to you. That is not love. That's enslavement and arrested development. We must spiritually emancipate each other no matter how much we disagree. I will not stop loving or associating with anyone who is searching for truth that resonates and best suits them. I will not pass judgment or condemnation, nor will I exalt my beliefs over anyone else's. However, sharing my journey with others is a responsibility I humbly accept, because someone has to find the Underground Railroad by being brave enough to walk through darkness in the hopes of sparking the minds of those who are trapped in a belief system that was stolen from our ancestors, which were the first people on this planet. That was the longest sentence I ever read. Oh.
Now we're gonna give you all. We're gonna use the Bible to prove that even the Bible spoke about the left hand path and the benefits of enlightenment of the left hand path. Nobody else has ever revealed this. This was given to me as a download after meditation one day. So this will be the first time you all have ever heard this, and it was so profound. And I've been holding on to this for about 8 months. So I'm so glad to finally be able to present this information.
Okay, so some may say, well, you're twisting the scriptures, but again, you have to read this from a unbiased perspective. If you reading it and you want to uphold it based on the traditional way that the scripture been presented and taught and preached on, then it won't resonate with you. All right. So this is scripture reference. Pass the person into the hands of Satan to be delivered. Deliverance was found by being given over to Satan. Out of darkness comes deliverance.
Y'all can go find this scripture for yourselves and read it. He go read it. I didn't write the scripture in here because I wanted people who need this knowledge to go looking for it the way that I did. It sinks a lot deeper when you have to do your own research.
Yeah. Okay, verse 3. Even though I am not with you in person, I am with you in the spirit. And as though I were there, I have already passed judgment on this man.
Wow.
In the name of the Lord Jesus, you must call a meeting of the church. I will be present with you in spirit, and so will the power of our Lord Jesus.
That's a familiar spirit right there.
Then you must throw this man out and hand him over to Satan, so that his sinful nature will be destroyed, and he himself will be saved on the day the Lord returns.
Wow. So Satan.
That's in the New Testament. I'll give you all that. Go ahead.
Satan is beneficial to help people reach enlightenment or be saved. That's in the Bible. So okay.
Go ahead.
So after we got to these points, he was like, wait a minute, there's something beneficial about this Lucifer kid. It's something beneficial about this serpent. The serpent was demonized, but the serpent was leading them to knowledge. And the Bible says that you perish for lack of knowledge. Something not adding up here. So we perish for lack of knowledge, but you have an angel with a flaming sword in front of the tree of life, so that the knowledge of good and evil that we have received will not be so deeply embedded in us that we'll be able to be our own gods and goddesses. But you say that we perish for lack of knowledge. So basically, you're telling me that this whole system is set up for me to perish, because you're stopping me, you're keeping me in a lack of knowledge intentionally with all of these rules and limitations. You see the wickedness? So the true wickedness that happens is the right-hand path. You are taught to ignore shadow aspects of yourself.
That's so true.
Ignore the fact that your uncle been molesting everybody in the family. Ignore the fact that the pastor and the minister of music was touching on you. We just go pray about it and leave it in the hands of Jesus. Jesus was used as the scapegoat to take anything dark, and then you take Jesus and you cover it with the blood. Well, to cover something with blood sounds a lot like how you charge sigils. That sounds a lot how you open demonic gateways to me. Okay, to actually have your children participate in a ritual with you where they are partaking of blood that represents a man who was supposedly actually lived and died, and you want me to symbolically eat his body as his flesh, and you want me to symbolically drink this as his blood? That sounds pretty left-hand path to me.
Or just being dunked in, submerged in some water, or submerged in some set apart as sacred,
to have a rebirth,
and having certain words spoken over you while you're doing it. It seems pretty left-hand path to me.
Very ritualistic.
Very occult stuff. Yes.
Deep occult.
Yes. Oh, and then you're going to be a new person when you come up.
Oh, you're going to be a totally new person. So basically, they took the story of the phoenix, and reversed it using water. Now, why did they use water? Because for every person who was birthed, water had to break. Our mothers had allow their water to break for us to be born. So this is why they use water. So we could just go on and on and on and on and on. There's so many rituals and occult practices all through the Bible.
Yes.
Okay, I think most of us know that. So.
And then once we, just to add this point, once we got on the left hand path, we didn't really realize how much the Bible was used on the left hand path side.
Yeah. That was
like
difficult.
Whoa.
Yeah, it took us a while. But when you start really getting liberated, you can go back to the Bible and look at it esoterically and use it for your path. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or you could do a hoodoo spell and do healing or protection using Psalms. Mm-hmm. But you don't just get there from the very beginning. It takes a minute because you have anger. Yep. Towards the deception, and you have anger towards this book that you realize was used to oppress people's souls. Yep. To
just manipulate and control.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We went through anger and frustration and sadness and grief. Yep. For a really long time. I mean, even our relationship got difficult and became strained because it was like we didn't know what to believe anymore. All of a sudden, we had an entity telling us what to do 24/7. And, we didn't really have to be accountable for anything because all we had to do was repent and shit. We're washed clean. Right. The blood covers it. So it ain't nothing. Why do I have to be accountable for anything? If all I got to do is repent, I ain't got to really be accountable. Right. I ain't got to really fix myself. Right. I ain't got to really see myself heal. And anything that I see in me that's dark or wrong or ugly, I'll blame it on the devil.
Yeah.
So the right hand path, it doesn't teach accountability. Now, there are some benefits of the right-hand path.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
The service to others, yes, we are on that. So this is what makes us, I'm not going to say we're middle pathers because I really don't even want to put a specific term on it. But we're trifectas. We're open-minded and open-hearted enough to take from wherever and use what works for us. That is a true awakened person. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what happens is when you start studying the occult, some of the things that you're gonna feel is fear. You are gonna feel doubt. You are gonna have thoughts. You're like, shit. I hope I didn't connect myself to something that's detrimental, that's going to be dangerous or cause harm to me and my family because I did this sigil, or I did this ritual with Sekhmet, and that was, Sekhmet was the first primordial energy that the both of us work with. And we felt this stuff coming up, like as we were doing the ritual, pay attention to how you feel when you do your rituals. This is how you can tell if you still have some leftover religion, right-hand path, or any type of traditional stuff that kept us enslaved in the 3D matrix. This is how you'll be able to tell if you have remnants of that still controlling you from your subconscious mind.
Yeah, that program was an indoctrination. And so when you've been indoctrinated in any form, it's in you. And so then you have to, like, intentionally do the things that will reprogram yourself. So that could possibly be attuning yourself to the truth as much as possible, continually reading the truth, and but again, it's an indoctrination. So that's something that's hard to break. It's not like you can be indoctrinated for years and years and years and then wake up one day
and it's all gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now you're gonna have residuals. Mm-hmm. To be honest, if we've been in there 12 years, when you get out, you might have 12 years of residual. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it gets weaker and weaker as time goes on. Mm-hmm. So by 12 years later, you might, out the blue, find yourself doing something and be like, man, I said that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that was attached to that right hand path.
And just to add to that, for some of us, I know y'all trying to figure it out. And because of the alignment, the planetary alignment and everything, and so the way that we are being upgraded and our light bodies are being activated, what's happening when that happens, even in the Bible, it talks about the eye that is filled with darkness. And oh, how deep that darkness goes.
Yep.
And it talks about people who couldn't tell the darkness from the light. So what's happening is the darkness represents the subconscious mind. The abyss in the Bible represents the collective subconscious mind of the dark things and the animal instincts, the primordial energies that exist within all of us that we deny or that we ignore or avoid dealing with. The right hand path, you didn't really have to feel the burn of that, because you always had a scapegoat to cast your cares on,
right,
so to speak.
Right.
With the left hand path, you realize that you must be accountable for everything in your reality, both good and bad.
Yeah.
Both the things that you know how you're accountable and how you are not. One thing that you will notice is the more that you study the left hand path, if you still have some remnants of this programming in you, and again, remember, this is epigenetics.
Yeah.
So let's just say you did grow up having to go to church every Sunday. If someone in your family did, it's still in your cellular memory, okay? So you still have to reprogram the subconscious mind.
Half of your family might be like this.
Yeah.
So how, you know what I'm saying, we dealt with that. How difficult is that when pretty much, let's just say, if both sides of your family, like your maternal and your paternal family members, were indoctrinated, like it's pretty much as common as some we have, and maybe like somebody that's hooked on the substance. Like at one point, it was like everybody that had a crackhead in their family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's about that common. So like you're gonna have that amount of number of people that was raised in that fashion, in that way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? To think that there is something on the outside of us that will be able to save us, empower us. Never, like you say, never really checking yourself and saying, "Hey, I'm accountable for all of this."
Yeah, like it was a little different for me than for Ernest coming into this.
Yeah.
I've always been able to own my shit. Pretty much most of my life, I've always been able to own my shit. If I did some whole shit, I did some stuff that was whole. If I stole something, I stole. If I lied, I lied. That's because of how my family is. My family is like, my family is like, I can't even explain it to you. It's like a mixture of power and empire. With a little bit of black is the new orange is the new black.
Yeah.
So we had the meet the Fokker conversations. We talked about sex. I heard things. I had uncles who was pimps. You know what I'm saying? They had 3, 4, 5, 6 women, wives, and they still had hoes. That's how I grew up. So, but we were still going to church and shit too. It's crazy. So it's like, damn, it's a whole different life when nighttime and the weekend comes. It was just amazing growing up, getting to see light and dark like that. And I believe that's why I've been able to integrate this, work with this, and kind of help create. When I do readings with people, I'm noticing that people are wanting to find that middle path. And even the Bible talks about walking the middle path and the benefits of doing that. So I want to say to you, we need polarity. We need electricity and magnetism. Without it, there is no electromagnetic field of the heart. We need light and we need darkness. We need the North Pole and the South Pole, the North Node and the South Node. And so when you come into true enlightenment, you understand that you can work with both energies. There isn't a judgment or really a separation of either. You just use what's beneficial to get you the outcome that you desire, the intentions that you set. So it's for those of you who are wanting to master yourselves. The first stage is mastering self. So this means encountering your shadow self and going deep as you ever went before. I'm going to share 2 very, 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 very private stories with y'all, and things that may be a little uncomfortable for me to share. But again, we have to lead by example. Left hand path is about going into the pain, because you realize without pain there is no gain. That's real. So, but the right hand path gave us a false sense of security, and we felt like we would be protected from certain painful and traumatic things. But nobody here who maybe went through that path was protected. All of us have some form of trauma. Okay?
Exactly.
So the light does not protect you from trauma. You have more protection in the dark than you do in the light, because at least in the dark you realize that you are sovereign, you are your own divinity, that the kingdom of hell and heaven is within you, and that you can manipulate energy for your outcome so you can transmute the trauma. We didn't have that power. We were disempowered when we were trying to navigate right hand path teachings only. Left hand path is all about giving the power back to you, instead of an entity outside of you that you pray to and believe in for everything. It just keeps you from learning yourself. So I want to say that the discomfort is necessary. So try to get used to the discomfort and feeling that, and don't let it make you run or make you turn away. Okay? Now, with that being said, because there are guardians of each threshold as you go through the left-hand path to master yourself. That's what it's all about. It's not about learning how to master other people. We change the world by mastering ourselves. We all have these universes within us. So when you master yourself, you are actually mastering universes, okay? And so this is why Earth is changing, because so many of us are doing shadow work, and we're working on ourselves. We're facing our demons. We're learning how to be accountable for our shit. You know, we're learning how to say, yeah, I'm a procrastinator. I be bullshitting my ass out. Like, you find yourself having these moments where you're like, damn, that was real and honest as hell. You have to catch yourself sometimes, because when the shame and the guilt, when you purge, that's what all of this energy coming in for the last few years has been, purging us of the shame and the guilt that was put on us. That's not even ours, that was keeping us from being able to leave the 3D matrix construct, right? So even the Bible says that we should not love the world. And so we know that the world is the 3D matrix that we were given. And there should be no love for that. You're not going to be able to navigate the labyrinth if you have love for that. And you're going to be like Lot's wife, turning around looking back, because you're like, damn, I might miss something. What was behind me might be better than what's ahead of me, because I really don't know where I'm going, because the self-mastery and awakening as a god or goddess means that I'm having to pave paths. And I really don't have anybody to have counsel with, because it ain't that many people within my circle of influence on my same vibration. And so you become a lone wolf, and you just got to figure that shit out as you go. So that's why it's so important when we come together in what we're doing. So I'm going to share these stories with y'all. So when I was 22 years old, I got pregnant, and I did not want to live with my mother anymore, because the drugs and the trap house and being in the middle of the hood, it was just too much. It was stressful. I couldn't take it. So I went to the church that I had been a member of for many, many, many years. Okay, I became a member of this church when I was 16 years old. My boyfriend, his uncle, was the pastor of the church. So I had given endless amount. I made a lot of money. I worked my ass out from the age of 11 and up. I had a job. So when I was 15, 16 years old, I paid tithes every Sunday. I always gave offerings. When they would have building funds and something need fixed, I was the first one in line to help do it. So here I am, 8 months pregnant, going into a sickle cell crisis, so I'm not feeling well, and I'm homeless. So I knew without a shadow of a doubt that all I had to do was let them know that I was having some hardships, and they would step up and help me. I'm going to tell y'all how they helped me. They sent me, when church was over, they said, we're going to help you out, give you somewhere to stay for the night. One night, okay? So they took me to a house not far from the church, where someone who was high up in the church, okay, like one of the founders, they had a child who was handicapped and bedridden. She needed someone to take care of her 24/7. She wore Pampers. She was an adult. She couldn't feed herself. She had feeding tubes, and she needed someone to care for her 24/7. So for that whole day and night, I was watching over her and taking care of her. I didn't mind doing it, because I'm still not thinking like they just go give me one night and then throw the deuces, but the next morning they were like, okay, we're coming to pick you up. So we ride in the car, and I'm like, where are we going? Maybe to y'all find an apartment or something for me? Like, I can get a new job and I'll be able to pay y'all back. And they were like, oh no, the pastor said we was gonna take you to the homeless shelter that we fund. So at this point, I'm kind of in shock, and I'm like, wow, this how they handling this? But I mean, what the hell can I do or say?
Mm-hmm.
So we pull up to the homeless shelter. I go in, I sign my name in. As I'm signing my name in and looking around, even then I could pick up on energy, and it just did not feel right in my soul. And so the lady was like, okay, I'm going to show you your room. I'm going to show you your bed. I'm going to give you the schedule. So we did all of that. 5 o'clock in the morning, every morning, I had to be up and out looking for a job. They did not provide transportation. They did not give you a bus card. If you had to walk, you just got to walk. But you were expected to be doing that from 5 to 1 o'clock. You were not allowed to come back into the shelter. So some days I'm 8 months pregnant. I'm tired of walking. I'm tired of filling out applications. Back then, it wasn't no filling out. In 2001, you still was having to do applications on paper. So after I had did as many applications as I could, literally I would just find a bus stop and sit there if it was raining. That way at least I wouldn't be getting wet. So this was a situation. My heart was broken because I was like, oh my goodness, like I really believed in these people, and I really believed that what they were doing was the right thing. I believed it so much so that sometimes I would give most of my check to whatever it is that they were doing. And you could imagine the pain and the heartbreak and the betrayal that I was feeling every night. I mean, it was big ass roaches. I mean, it was so roach infested. It was ridiculous. The food that they fed us, it wasn't enough food. I wasn't eating enough for two, even though I was pregnant. They knew they were not making sure that I had enough. They told me that they had to salvage, that the church was not bringing money like they were supposed to, so they didn't have food. So now I'm calling the church like, yo, I'm at the shelter and they short on food. They telling me they've been short on food for a while and I'm not eating enough. So the church was like, well, that's not true. I don't know why they told you that. So now I'm starting to realize there is a bigger issue between these two entities working together too. So every Sunday, the church van would come pick us up, and we were required. It didn't matter what was going on. You could be sick. You could have a virus. It don't matter. Pneumonia. Get your ass up and go to church. When the van pull up, you need to be ready. Go to church. So I'm at church. This is probably about 4 weeks in of being there, and I'm so sick, and my blood count was so low that I passed out in church. The next thing I know, I wake up and I'm in the hospital. And so the hospital was like, well, where do you live? You want to call anybody? I didn't have nobody to call. Now keep in mind, 99% of my family was Christian. I got billionaires in my family. Like my whole family is not poor. Nobody would help me. It was nobody to call. I had nowhere to go. So at this point, I'm so confused. I'm like, who is this God and this Jesus that I've been praying to and talking to all these years? He don't show up when I need something. Like, what's up with that? So this was the beginnings of me really, really asking questions. So that's one experience where I would say to you, that's something that I will never, ever forget. That to see the people, to be honest with you, I have felt more love from occultists, metaphysicians, sorcerers that I have worked with and talked to and had spiritual consultations with than I ever did with people who were considered right hand path workers. And one thing that I noticed, they could look like Marilyn Manson, but they had the biggest heart. And the reason that a lot of them do what they do is because of this huge heart. And so this is what I began to understand about darkness from that experience. The reason that they may wear God's makeup and do all of that is part of witchcraft that we were taught by the Watchers, right? I think Azazel was one of the ones that taught us makeup and witchcraft and working with metal. And then you cross that over into a lot of the African spiritual systems, and you have these same deities, these energies who are responsible for us learning and having this enlightenment and learning how to work certain things. So with that being said, my first time, like Sekhmet scared the hell out of me. My shadow self scared the hell out of me. Because of the monstrous, the way the energy sometimes appears and the way it makes you feel. Well, that's because if the where the true power lies, if it made you feel comfortable to approach it, then people would try to bullshit that energy all the time. And so because that true power, it's just like if you go to a bank and you don't have the right access code, you're not getting in that box. And it don't matter how much money is in there. If you don't have the right access code, you don't have access to get that money out of there. And that's how it is with these energies who are like gatekeepers, these deities that are more left-hand path, that are here to help us self-realize, self-actualize, and also to help us understand ourselves and to be able to eventually self-deify ourselves. And so it feels scary because we're in this program where the love and the light is the key. Stay in the light. So you're going to feel that feeling come up. Even when you start seeing your face shape shifting, it make me feel some kind of way still. You know, I'm like, damn, I got horns and shit. Like, what the? I'm looking in the mirror like, wow, look at my eyes. My eyes getting all black, no white in my eyes anymore. I mean, it can freak you out. But I asked, I'm like, why do you all appear so monstrous? And they were just like, so that only those who are pure of heart, who see past the outside, will be able to benefit from the power that lies behind us. So when you come with a pure heart, you might feel the fear, but you still go press through because you know that your heart is pure.
That is so true.
You know?
In order to really grasp and understand everything that she was just saying, it takes being true to yourself. When you're in a right hand path, there is not an accountability placed on us in the aspect of ourselves, and so we're not being true to who we really are, because everything that is deemed bad, we take on the facade that, oh yeah, that's an issue, I've been delivered from it. Okay, now if you hadn't done any self-inflection or any true work to delve into your issues and understand your issues, and instead of saying you delivered from your issues, you can understand that, no, these are part of me, and now I just have self-control, and I know how to deal with when this idea or when this feeling comes over me. I know how to respond. I know how to control it. I know what it is. I can even put it kind of like put it in timeout, so to speak. But being true to oneself is the reason why we can have those that are on that right hand path and those that put the illusion out that, hey, we're compassionate, we're passionate, we're about helping and saving our brothers and sisters, those who are downtrodden and downcasted, those who are poor, the sick among us. We're here for you. But in the same individuals, you can get the mistreatment, you can get the overlooking. You know what I'm saying? You can get the judging, and that's just because you're not being true to yourself. But then a left hand path is somebody who's more true to themselves, somebody who knows their demons and work with their demons. Guess what? They can be real when they see a person that's in need. They can genuinely be like, I'm finna help. And it is not coming from a place of, oh, I get brownie points because I did something to help somebody. No, you looking at it from a standpoint of, that could be me. And so just being true to myself, this is how I would want people to deal with me. This is what I would want somebody to say to me. I would want somebody to see me for me and not look down on me.
And not judge me.
And not judge.
And even Jesus himself in the Bible says, I have not come to judge. I have not come to pass condemnation. Judge ye not, lest ye be judged. So a lot of people who are working the right hand path, who are still judgmental to anything that's outside of what the vibration of what they feel is okay, they're actually putting themselves in detriment by casting this condemnation on people that they claim to be. This is me loving you, so I'm passing judgment. I'm doing. But then these are the same people that won't face their own shadows.
Yeah.
So and I'll be honest with you. One other thing, ladies, especially ladies, for those of us who came through that, we don't feel safe being vulnerable, because we saw so much wrong. And even if you didn't see nothing particular, you felt so much wrong growing up in these belief systems that it's not a safe space for you. So you develop coping mechanisms to deal with the fact that as a kid you had no choice. So you get into fight or flight. You really never feel safe. You don't even know what sacred space is. You don't even know what a personal sanctuary is. You don't even know that you are responsible in creating your own peace and serenity. So what happens is you try to manipulate your environment to always make you feel safe and make you feel okay. This is something that the right hand path did to us that many of us may not have realized until now. And so we would use the name of Jesus or whatever it was, we would use that to manipulate our environment so that we're comfortable.
Right.
So what happened was that means that we were given a false sense of security, a false sense of comfort. So when you wake up and come out of that, all of a sudden you feel too vulnerable. You feel like you're so disempowered. Everything that gave me power, I found out it was a lie. So I don't have any power now. I don't have any protection now, and so you don't feel safe. So there were times where I didn't even feel safe to be physically intimate with him, because I realized, because of what religion had done to me, I had parts of me that was like, well, if you don't know yourself, and if you haven't even been able to see your own demons and be able to be accountable for when you are in that shadow, darker energy, how can I feel safe with you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know what energy is operating in your auric field or in any of your subtle bodies, and I could pick up on it. If there was a different energy in him that wasn't him, it would make me feel uncomfortable for a long time. I couldn't figure out what that was. So when you are in a relationship or have somebody maybe that you are intimate with, when you start waking up, all of a sudden you start having these fluctuations of when you feel safe and when you don't. Mm-hmm. And so this is because this is what happens when you don't set up parameters and practice spiritual hygiene to protect your energy from being hijacked by other entities. Okay? So with the right hand path, you realize that you are responsible for self. Yep. You are not responsible for trying to control. You have no right to tell anybody else how they should feel, what they should do, what's right. None of that. Yep. You deal with you. You focus on you.
That's right.
And you fill your own cup. You get to know yourself. Mm-hmm. And so because he had these aspects that he hadn't even met yet, when they would show up, he would deny them, and I could clearly see it. And I mean, it was scary for a little while. I'm like, damn, like, I can't really trust you all the time, because you don't even know what energy is coming through. Mm-hmm. If you ain't met that part of yourself, then you have no control, no mastery over that energy. So the goal is not to cast the demons out of you. That's not going to happen. The 72 demons of Goetia is stored right here in the first eye, in the pineal gland. Mm-hmm. There is no separation.
Projection and deflection is what you get a lot of from those on the right hand path. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They're going to project that, I'm walking upright, and they'll say, I'm human, but realistically, I don't think we get into our dark shit. That's just a difference. Like how even in a testimony, when I think about it, when we were walking that path, a testimony probably it gave you some detail, but nothing gives you detail like when you calling yourself out and owning your own stuff, like what we talking about. Like I'm not gonna say when I gave a testimony when I was in church that I just laid it all out there. You know why? Because everybody that's in there listening to you don't mean you no good. And there's something within itself that's jacked up. That we can be in the midst of supposedly like-minded individuals, and I can't even be true to myself. Shit, if I just was in an orgy last night, I ain't finna get up in front of the church and say I was in an orgy last night and y'all just pray for me.
But this, look,
you know what I'm
this is
saying?
the weird thing about that.
But guess what?
We would leave church and go to have an orgy. Yep. Like real talk. I don't know how many people watching this is from where we from, but yep. I ain't calling no names. If you happen to have participated, you remember. Yeah. It was so strange. Everybody was screwing everybody, and nobody was speaking up about it. Yep. And everybody come to church like nothing happened. It was. I couldn't even. I was just like, I feel safer around people who sell drugs, shoot people, go to jail, screw who they want to screw, strip, dance, hoe, whatever, than I do with these people. Because these people do all of this stuff. Right. But they live this double life. They create this alter ego. They use this scapegoat rituals. Mm-hmm. That's some dangerous shit. That's the kind of people who will kill your ass and will be so good at explaining how they didn't kill you and probably get away with it. Like that right there, at least somebody who like straight up, this just me. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, I shot her. Yeah. Yeah, that bitch was talking too much, and so yeah, I stabbed her. Yeah. But them people, yeah. So we're going to read a little bit more and break this down to y'all, because this show ended up getting longer. We didn't know y'all was going to be this interested in this, so that's what's up. Yeah. But y'all told us y'all wanted us to talk about this, so we are. We said, yeah, we said we're going to deal with it, and we knew it wasn't nothing that we probably could just deal with in one sitting. We'll definitely do a part two, because we see y'all got a lot to say, too. Yeah, definitely. Okay. The Bible says Jesus, or God, is inside of us. We are the temple. We are little gods, and the kingdom of God has come into us, and we are a part of it. So this is why we should be living as gods. Again. So this is why we should be living as gods, not to serve and give our energy and life force to the gods above that are mentioned, but the only difference between what we are now practicing and what we were practicing is the fact that we know who these gods are. Mm-hmm. We know how they operate, and we are drawing energy from them instead of giving energy to them. Serving them is a slave mindset. Slaves obey your masters. Remember that in the New Testament. Mm-hmm. Also, we aren't deceived into receiving guidance from people who died in the Old Testament, like Abraham, Isaiah, Joseph, David, Solomon. When you study them, you are told to do so for guidance and help with the decisions in your own life. The issue here is these people never existed. So you are seeking guidance and knowledge from people who are just a myth used to control and make you a servant or slave to your white masters for the rest of your life. This is identical to slavery and its effects on us, like the woman desiring to be with the master because she thinks this will give access to blessings in the end. Christians think the serving they do for Christ will give access to blessings. Can you see the parallel system here? It's exactly the same. Yeah. Like real talk. Yeah. It's exactly the same. So, it's so good though. Yeah, it is. So we're gonna do a part two, because we still have a lot more that was put together for this, and it just continues to go deeper and deeper and deeper. Yep. But I want to say that before we got to this point, okay, what happened was I had a dream that the church was dying. And she was represented by a Black woman in a wheelchair, and she told me that it was my time. It's my time to go. I was conjured to be here to set up a system. I did that, and now it's time for me to go. And she asked me if I would pray with her prior to her leaving Earth, leaving her domain of controlling people. I had this dream in 2016. 17, and I didn't fully understand what that was speaking to me until I started seeing the church die. I started seeing so many people leave church in droves. I started seeing pastors on YouTube teaching about the lies and the stuff that they had found out, and I was like, whoa, like it's a major shift happening here. What's happening? And so according to the Willie Lynch letters, which you can say was real or it wasn't, but according to that, that these certain ways of programming the minds, it typically lasts for 4 generations. And so that 400th year is when it will start losing its effectiveness and its power over enslaving the minds and spirits of the people.
Right.
We are there. In the year 2017, in the year 2017, that's when we had the eclipse that made literally a cross or X across the United States. And we were Hebrew Israelites at the time, so we decoded that from that standpoint, and that video is on YouTube. Okay? Now, when that eclipse happened, I told everybody that the 400 years of enslavement would end. And so that was from the shackles being released from our consciousness. So I'm sure a lot of y'all in the year 2017, if you look back, you can really see that your mind really started having courage to ask certain questions and to dare to even go soul searching for the truth on your own. So with that being said, we don't adhere to one path and put down the other, or vice versa.
Right.
We believe that the new heaven and earth, so to speak, that's being created will be created by people who are open-minded and open-hearted. And so with that, that basically means that we're star seeds, but we're like rebels. We're like sacred rebels, where we came here. We were born for a time such as this, to challenge the systems that did not serve the generations before us, and to not beat the hell out of our kids into worshiping this deity outside of themselves.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that I want to mention before I'm going to pull some cards like I always do, and I have a new deck that is so dope. And these cards, for each one, is really, really long on the information that it gives, and it also gives some activation affirmations to use to break free of a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. So if you think that maybe you still have some remnants of that, or some of that stuff is impacting you, you're not manifesting, you're not creating a reality that you would like to, it's probably because of this. So if you have not canceled your soul contracts with whatever deities you were raised under, you must do that to be able to further your spiritual path, okay? Otherwise, this entity has rights over your soul, and it is no different than when Moses died. Satan showed up and was like, I'm here to collect, you know? And it was like, no, he don't belong to you. With Michael and Satan, like, had this battle. So this just shows you the battle that happens within each of us, you know, this pull between these two polarities. And so I believe the goal is to walk the middle, you know, if you can. But do as thou wilt. Do what feels right to you. Aleister Crowley was right about that. Why in the hell would an extension of God, of source energy, come here to live a life experience, but to not live that in fullness? It don't even make sense. And so this makes you have to reincarnate.
That's a whole other subject.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole other subject. And so I want to say, since we stopped praying, since we stopped doing all the stuff we did, our lives got better. We got better. It's crazy. And I know people around us, people who are around you and say that they love you, are praying for your downfall, because they believe that when you are cast into the hands of Satan, you will be saved. You see it's lunacy.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And so there are a lot of people sometimes around you who are praying for your downfall because they feel like you're on a path of deception and to gain the world and lose their whole soul type of thing. So they send in the evil eye and negative energy your way. This could also be something that's impacting your path.
Yeah.
If you want to add something, I'm gonna start shuffling and pull some cards. What's important for us?
That is
right
so
now.
true. I mean, we saying it, and everybody in the chat saying it and understand it and know it. And so, I believe, as we always say, what I'm saying, we just are sharing this journey. We are um sharing our experiences with as many people that we can when we encounter people. You know what I'm saying? There are gonna be some people that seemingly, we was listening to some, I can't remember, was it earlier today or yesterday, but anyway, we was listening to some, and it was just talking about how, and we've alluded to it tonight, that there is being a shift that's taking place to where people are starting to try to do church with a little more new. I'm just using these terms loosely, with a little more new ageism. You know what I'm saying?
They having yoga meetings at church. They're talking about meditating.
They trying, they
using affirmations.
Starting to work with crystals and
people
stuff like that.
Us,
you know what I'm saying?
About certain herbs. And stuff
But they deep in church. You know what I'm saying? They still on that right hand path strong, but at the same time, the awareness level is starting to increase, and especially because it's more commercial now. You can look on TV and catch some of these commercials, and it has all type of metaphysical aspects in it, to where they're not hiding it. They talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Wanting to understand energy and energy work, and how that is a part of us. All of these things that are coming to the surface, and we becoming more aware of. I think we can't do nothing but keep doing what we're doing and keep going hard at it.
Yeah, and I want to say, y'all remember what I said when you do shadow work, the black candle shadow work ritual in the mirror, and when you start to see your face shape shifting. Typically, it starts with the eyes first, maybe. When you start to see those things happen, you're gonna feel fear come up. But that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, nor does it mean that you should stop. It just means that the only people who get past the feeling of fear are those who have a true hunger to be whole, to be sovereign, and to be empowered, and to have access to their divinity, to be separated from that which has kept us in bondage all through the age of Pisces, which is all about believing. And now the age of Aquarius is all about to know, the knowing.
That's right.
So you're always going to feel there, okay? Don't let the feeling of fear be what turns you away. Let that be the thing that lets you know you're moving in the right direction, okay?
And I was told by a great, 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 great goddess and a great woman, a great oracle, that ain't nothing gonna happen until you change it. And so, no matter what it is, until you start addressing your own self, until you start looking within and really being serious about it with consistency, ain't nothing gonna change.
And
free knowledge.
If y'all liking this, give us a thumbs up. Let us know we doing some due diligence.
Oh wow! So this is the first one you pulled.
That was the first card I pulled.
Okay. Defend to the end the worthwhile. Defend to the end the worthwhile. I don't know, can y'all see
it? It says, beneath the illusions, pretty as they may seem,
look like an owl on top of it.
You know what is real. Beneath the lies, sweet though they may sound, you know what is worthwhile. All that is genuinely and truly essential for the heart to thrive with life is worthwhile. Anything that dulls it or suffocates it, vibrates aliveness, or stops you from feeling that must be questioned, challenged, and more than likely cast aside. For the heart is our key to living an authentic life. What is there once that is compromised? Without its foundation of truth, we are to be forever lost in confusion, doubt, and despair. You are a sacred warrior, a defender of the heart. You have cried genuine tears of your own grief and also the grief of the world. You have raged at injustice and oppression in your own life and in the world. You have felt the need to protect the presence of love, for whilst it is exceptionally powerful, it can too easily be smothered under lies and fear. The sacred warrior must not heed the dangerous voices that say, "Oh, stop being so sensitive. Stop making such a big deal out of things. Love is the biggest deal there is. What else is worth being so sensitive about?" The sacred warrior is vigilant that the presence of love is not chipped away by fear, criticisms, doubt, or untruths. Even if others find the unflinching honesty of your feelings difficult to handle, even if those feelings are expressed with gentleness and compassion, the sacred warrior honors the task of being more faithful to love than to anything else. This includes the fear of loss. Actually, it includes the fear of anything at all. This oracle brings guidance to honor even the smallest steps in your path of the sacred warrior. They are no less important than the more noticeable or dramatic actions on the path. One single misstep can begin a landslide of great devastation. Being vigilant with what is meaningful and what is truthful, even in the smallest and seemingly most insignificant ways, strengthens the sacred warrior and prevents darkness from gaining a stronghold from the inside. So remember, when it's speaking about that darkness here, it's talking about that part of you that maybe you are afraid to venture into, to integrate, and to heal and transmute. Okay? It says that darkness will be intelligent and sneaky, and it will tell you that it doesn't matter, that this one time you can forget what you promised, that you are just one person and that you can't make a difference anyway. That darkness will lure you into sleepy, ambivalent, and dull your light if you allow it to. Keep in mind, darkness is anything that causes you to not be authentic. That is the true definition of darkness in the form that we were taught as for evil or wickedness. That's anything that suppresses the soul of a sentient, intelligent, sovereign being who came here and manifested in this 3D body to have source experience life through itself, to be a co-creator. This is the form of darkness it's talking about, the stuff that disempowers you.
Thank you, Sageism, for the donation too. Yeah,
yes,
appreciate that.
Ashe.
Yeah,
y'all donations really help us to have these new decks and be able to upgrade equipment and pay for babysitters. So thank you so much. All of that. It says, the sacred warrior within will fight with love and honor to be true to what has meaning and never ever allow it to be cast aside, even if it seems easier in the moment. The sacred warrior finds joy and humor in life to prevent the seriousness of the task from stifling the heart that just wants to live and be free. That joy brings strength to the warrior and expanded, relaxed awareness that can sense the presence of fear, whether it is masked as anger, hate, or doubt, and immediately respond to it with fierce compassion. The sacred warrior will not allow fear to gain a stronghold within the heart. This oracle has special guidance for you. You are being asked to stay strong and stand your ground. This might be in a big emotional journey that feels like the fight of your life. It may be in a matter that does not seem to hold much importance. Perhaps, for example, you are contemplating an idea that you feel could be something big, but those around you declare that it is nothing much, too impractical, too little, or too much. However, what is happening or soon will be happening is worthwhile. So hold tight. Ask for help through the healing process below. Stay true to the sacred warrior of love that you are, and defend to the end all that is worthwhile. Mm. So here's the healing process portion of this. This is going to be like a affirmation that you can use to activate this connection, this resonance that you may be feeling. You're going to put your hand on your heart and say, I call upon the sacred warriors of unconditional love. I ask for your support, protection, assistance, and intervention on my behalf through unconditional love, that what is truly worthwhile for the light and life of the heart be protected and preserved within me and in the world for the greater good through my own free will. So mote it be. And you can repeat this as many times as you need to. Rewind this, play it. You can jot it down and say it for yourself. And I want to say this is a declaration to help you tap into the energy of love is equated to God, right? It's equated to the Creator, right? This is the same energy that creates worlds, right? So you could say that that's synonymous with the self-deification, finding the God within you, the goddess within you. So the left hand path is not the path that's void of love, and the right hand path is the path that's filled with love. That's all an illusion, okay? Because people who deal with self-hatred, when you have to repent for doing something that you felt was right for you in the moment, that is a form of self-hatred. That is something that's going to make you feel heavy and guilty. And when you go before, thank you for the donation, Ashe.
Majesty her, thank you.
Sweet.
Yes.
When you go before Mayad, when you leave this body, if your heart is heavy, that density comes from the guilt and the shame that was put on you, the sadness and not being able to be your authentic self. For some of us, even though we're adults, we were denied being our authentic self as children for so long that you didn't even forget who your authentic self is. You don't even know what you really like. You don't even know what you don't like, what you don't enjoy.
That's true.
You're just following the program. So that subconscious programming is really, really powerful. So this is why shadow work, besides self-love, is the key to self-realization.
That's right.
Self-actualization and self-deification.
That's right. Defend to the end. Yes.
So we want to say, do what makes you feel nervous.
I mean,
do what makes you feel vulnerable. What makes you feel naked.
Yes. This is the time to release all your inhibitions. And that's what working the left hand path is. For the most of us have been in some type of mindset of working that right hand path, whether we trying to be philanthropic, whether we, you know what I'm saying? Because
thank you, Dakini.
Thank you. Most of society operates from a right hand perspective, right hand path perspective. Most of society does. So anything contrary to that is always frowned upon. But we find out that that's where we can relate to everything. That's where the truth lies. The truth lies on the left hand side, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what time it is. It's time for all of us to really tap into ourselves. I seen one of the comments that somebody said about a woke church, and I don't know if we truly ready for that. Like I'm and when we saying woke, we ain't talking about, oh, you just know what's going on. No, we're talking about practicing alchemy, you know what I'm saying, doing all of the work, truly being left hand pathers, a congregation of left hand pathers. What would that be like? Like there would probably just even imagining that. I mean, what type of power? man, you're talking about power.
To truly set people free versus pulling people into a pit.
Oh yeah.
Of disempowerment.
Yeah.
I felt even sexual impulses.
Yeah.
Felt like something that I needed to always cast down. Because sin was attached to it. So a man thinketh, so is he. You look at a woman and lust in your heart, you have committed adultery. Shit like that.
Okay, so that's an example. The residuals. All right, we had this conversation, and see, it takes individuals that are already true to themselves that can help us that haven't been as quite as used to being more true to yourself to come up out of their shell. Mm-hmm. Me and Cam talk all the time. In the past, I've never been in a relationship where I can tell my partner that I had fantasized about having sex with another woman. Like, that's just something that in my mind you don't do, or in my old programming you don't do. Like, talk about that, because I'm thinking that the conversation will probably lead to an argument and then go worse. You know what I'm saying? But in all actuality, when you're being true to yourself, and that is the type of relationship that you exist in, y'all able to be candid and real with each other. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm having a fantasy, that don't mean that I'm moving on the fantasy. But we communicating all of this. We don't hold any judgment to the point that we're not gonna even say you having these thoughts or you having these fantasies is wrong.
Because according to the Bible, you would be committing
adultery. Yeah. But no, what we realize is those are just desires that we have. And what's the name? We was listening to someone earlier, and they were just talking about these. Stop getting to the place in your mind to where you like is you wrong when you have a thought like that.
Yeah.
It's our nature. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You might have a whole closet full of shoes, and I'm gonna use this material example. You might have a whole closet full of shoes that you love, and at one point in time, when you first got them, you was like, "Oh man, these so dope." But then they get old, and then guess what? You find yourself going buying more shoes. Not that you don't appreciate those shoes, because at one point in time they were brand new. But what we have to do is we have to continually cultivate our relationships to when things do get old, or when things hit that stale place, then we freshen it back up. And the only way that we can do that is by being true to ourselves and being real and saying, you know what, it's been hard, but these are the things that my mind has been pondering on. You know what I'm saying? And because your partner loves you, and because your partner holding that sacred space for you without judgment, then y'all able to grow with each other. Mm-hmm. That's some deep stuff that you will only begin to dive into and delve into when you start a left hand path walk. It just won't happen on that right hand path, because you feeling like you're gonna be judged because of how you truly feel.
And you already got an internal judgment in your mind 24/7. That's why you hard on yourself. You overly critical. You doubt yourself. You do magic, and then you're like, oh, I don't even believe counter magic worked for me. Or, all of that comes up because those programs are still running within us. And I want to say this last thing, too, before we close out. The left-hand path can come in different forms. The left-hand path could come in the form of some of the things that Lisa Romano teach, which is empowerment, self-empowerment, learning how to pull back, stop being codependent, disconnect yourself energetically from people who are narcissists and abuse you, and take over your life and create the life that you want to have. That's very left-hand path. So left-hand path is not always through rituals and ceremonies and working with specific entities, deities, by name. It can come in many different forms, actually. Another form of left hand path, if I was to choose someone we haven't listened to that is a left hand path person who teaches you how to raise your children once you are awakened to true spirituality, would be Dr. Shefali, Shefali. The way she teaches parenting is from this same perspective, that these souls are not here for me to have full order and rule over them. I am to be an example, be supportive, be present, be loving, and allow this soul to experience the experiences that it needs to become the person it came here to become, not to tell them who I want you to become. So that was new for us, and I was like, "Yo, that's like, yeah, that's 5D parenting right there." So we have to get to a point where, yeah, Abraham Hicks, that's another form of left hand path. Any path that is teaching you self mastery, teaching you how to create the life that you desire, teaching you how to use the laws of hermetics or the laws of the universe, teaching you how to be accountable for your shit, teaching you how to be a deliberate creator and not someone who creates by default. When you're creating by default, you're allowing this subconscious program that no longer agrees with your conscious mind that has awakened. And so you're producing chaos in your life, and it can mimic left hand chaos that leads to transformation, but it's not. It's stagnant, chaotic energy that keeps you confused.
That's so true.
So, like this card I pull, the most powerful way to approach self mastery is through the energy of love, which is the highest vibration of consciousness. Okay? And so, this love is to be turned within. So, you want to start with loving the parts of you that you don't like, loving the parts of you that hurt. I have talked to people who were like, wow, I just realized I was kind of a slick incest pedophile because I used to feel all my cousin booty. And, we could be doing read and they'll be like, damn, I can't believe I just said that. And I'm like, it ain't no judgment here. I've done worse. They're like, for real? I thought, and then all of a sudden other shit come at it and just, and people feel so liberated, and people need that. People need someone to not make them feel like they all alone, they're a monster and they just so messed up, and it's just like, it's terrible. And then what you do is, on the right hand path, you're constantly promising that something outside of you is going to come and fix it, and then nothing never comes and fixes it. So then you pass it down to the next generation. So shit, now we 4 generations from meeting these thought forms of these monotheistic religions who were going to fix something, right? The end of the world was going to come, the rapture was going to come, that was coming to get us, and these niggas ain't showed up yet. It's just like, what? Like, mama, who am I waiting on? Oh, he gonna fix it. When? It's been 4 generations. We still getting shot, choked to death, shoot. Yeah, dying in the hospital. Black women dying in the hospital at the highest rates of any other race. Like, all this stuff happening, and y'all keep saying Jesus go fix it. He ain't showed up yet. So that's like Stockholm syndrome. And so you begin protecting the one that is actually oppressing you, and then you force your children to do it as well. If that's not wicked, I don't know what is. So to be evil is actually to live, and to know and understand that, yes, I can do whatever I want to do, but all things may not be beneficial. And I need to be able to be accountable for what happens as a result of me being my own God and not being afraid to make decisions and do things, even if it's on an impulse, because I'm accepting the accountability in that. I'm a sovereign being, and I'm going to live like the way I want to. So this is why under the age of Aquarius, we have so many people who are gay, bi, transgender, homo, pansexual, asexual, queer, and the list goes on, and they just keep adding to the list. It's because those souls came in such a chaotic situation of manifestation of the energy that makes up the majority of them, to where it causes the world to pause and be like, hold up. So my 7-year-old boy is telling me that he was really supposed to be a girl, and now he's 14, and he has really committed to this. I know he's not making it up. Those people, those are some very brave souls who agreed to come to a world that had not yet awakened, that spirituality is so much deeper than what reproductive organs you have. It is about the dominant energy within you. So I'm not here to say what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
I can simply say what feels right to me and what doesn't. So with that being said, that's why we see that so much now, and that's why so many kids now are identifying as the opposite of the organs, the sexual organs that they have, because we both have divine masculine and divine feminine within us. Baphomet is both sexes. If you look at most of the gods and deities, they are androgynous, okay? And so that's because there was a time where we didn't need the polarity to create. It was balance and harmony, and we were one soul. We were whole. We were holy. And so in order to restore the balance, there had to be some sacred rebels come into this world. You can only imagine how many parents of that are in monotheistic religions who are having to deal with this with their children. I mean, what better way to shake a soul and awaken it that you are living in a limitation that you don't have to. There are other trees and other fruit. You can be like God. You can be as God. Why are you living like this? Why are you living like a slave? And you can be a master of yourself. Instead of being a slave to your impulses and desires, you can master them. So, with that being said, for those of you who want to delve deeper into self mastery, practicing these things that we've talked about are very, very, very important. Okay. So we stayed on here long. We expect it. Look like we need to do a part two. So this is what we're gonna do. When we invited y'all, so for those of you who are signed up for the website that are members, if you haven't and you want to stick with us throughout this journey, go to remnantsgathering.com and make sure that you're signed up so you get the alerts, since YouTube doesn't always give the alerts. Okay? So the alert that he sent out, you can go there because I think we created a forum on there already for tonight's show. You can go there and y'all can post y'all questions or future topics or maybe something you wanted us to expound upon, and we would create the next show from that. So anything else that was really, really, really impressive? Yes. So just make sure that you are journaling these experiences. Okay. This is how you're gonna master yourself. Ashe. Oh, okay, Neek. Yep, remnantsgathering.com as well, sis. Just go there, fill out the form, let me know what days and times, what your time zone is, and then I'll respond to you with the day and time that works. So if you want to get a personal reading, y'all, that's how you reach us. If one of our moderators could put that up for us in the chat. So I just want to say, work on looking at yourself. Work on paying attention to the stuff that trigger you. Most of the time, either your spouse, people you're dealing with, or your children, the shit that they do that irritate the hell out of you is something that is within you that is calling for your attention. Because energy goes where attention flows. You're always putting your attention on the triggers outside of you. You understand, but you don't even get to understand why it triggers you and what it means and what to do. So you want to document your triggers, okay? If when people lie, it just really, really like gets you to a point where you're so angry you can't even think straight. 9 times out of 10, there's something you're not being authentic about in your own life. So you may not be lying to someone outside of you, but you may be living a lie. And that's why when that lie show up in somebody outside of you, it upsets you so much. And I walk Ernest through stuff like this all the time because I do it to myself, but when I do it to him, it's different. And that's the twin flame journey where we are fragments of one soul and we reflect these parts of each other that's hidden. So we will definitely be putting more stuff together because what we want to do is so much right-hand path information out there and there's so much left-hand path information out there. And for some of you, it's like you don't really feel like you fully want to, hang on to either. And so our goal here through this awakening is to be this bridge to this higher consciousness with this balance and harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's so much more we could talk about, and we're going to. We know y'all probably got questions now that we've had this build together.
Mm-hmm.
So just send us a message at remnantsgathering.com. We will get your questions. We will deal with it. We're gonna pick up with part 2 of the rest of this because we still, like I said, we got a lot more. We're going to point out some things that may be keeping you in a cycle of only creating from an unconscious place or from a subconscious place, okay, and how to break free of that, okay. So yeah, thank y'all so much. We really enjoyed this. We wish we didn't have to get off of here. We could just keep going and going and going, but as you can see, when you do the work, it shows up. And we can't get on here and bullshit, y'all. One thing about the weirdo gang, the remnants being gathered, y'all know bullshit when y'all smell it.
When y'all sense it.
So,
yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
so we got to do the work, you know, all of us. Let's commit to the change that we know we need.
That's right.
Giving that love to yourself, turning that love within, and being committed to mastering yourself, that is the best way to be a great parent. That is the best way to be a great lover. That is the best way to be a great co-creator of your own reality. Turn it within. For those of you who nurture and give and give and give advice and give love and be there for everybody when they need you, but nobody's there for you, guess what? You are accountable for that. You are creating that chaotic existence. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. If you weren't alive, who would do it for them? So you don't have to play God for other people. Master yourself. Become your own God. There's nothing wrong with that. Because people have to figure it out on their own. And you don't want to handicap people and enable people in their weaknesses because you're not doing them any good. And I'm speaking from experience because we both have done this.
Yep.
Okay? Let people fend for themselves. Let people find their truth the same way you did. Each person is accountable for finding the highest truth that resonates with them. It's on them. Okay? So
we don't want them to have to come back and do it all over again.
I'm completely no contact with my mom and as well, so I understand. But in the words of Bobby Hemmings say, he wasn't never close to his mama.
Yeah, and I'm holding us accountable. And I'm not
laughing it ain't funny. It's painful at first, but I'm just saying, like, you're really committed to loving yourself when you start cutting people off.
Yeah, and with all of that, what you just said, it made me be like, okay, yeah, right my wrongs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so y'all, we're gonna be releasing another song sometime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we're probably gonna go ahead and do the video with it too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If somebody can mix and master, let us know. Reach out to us. Send us a message on remnantsgathering.com. And if you do engineering or you can mix and master, we can send the tracks to you and work something out. Let us know what you charge or whatever, because I'm sure somebody who watches this does engineering, and we would rather somebody with similar frequency mix and master our stuff than someone who believes in something else, and then when it comes out, the energy is not going to do what it could have done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess we can go ahead and sign out.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Well, man, again, thank y'all, everybody that's in the chat. We appreciate y'all, everybody that's been dialoguing. And man, dropping gems of enlightenment as well and wisdom. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
So
you started off on coming in behind.
Mr. Band Clap do music. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
That's right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, yeah. We have to connect. Make sure we connect with Mr. Band Clap. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, as we always say, man, your third eye has just been kissed. Peace.